afternoon and welcome to the July 16th meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Trustees. My name is Vicki Earhart and I serve as Township Administrator. Due to the declared state of emergency in the nation, state of Ohio and Anderson Township, and the order of the Director of the Ohio Department of Health issued on March 12th in response to the COVID-19 emergency, this meeting is being held telephonically. Residents and others interested parties can connect via telephone or video. The agenda for today's meeting is available on our website, which is andersontownship.org. You can simply click on the Government tab at the top of the page and then Trustee Agenda, followed by the July 16th meeting. You can click on that date and the agenda will appear. The board will be accepting public comment via phone during the public hearing for the 2021 preliminary tax budget and also during public forum, which appears later in the agenda. We ask that all participants mute their phones and only unmute if speaking. If you're going to speak, it's also helpful if you use the handset as opposed to the speaker feature on your phone to reduce any background noise. At each of our board meetings, we encourage attendees to sign a sheet indicating their attendance and their contact information. Since we're doing this telephonically, you're welcome to send that information to Molly Moorfield at MOHRFIELD@andersontownship.org so that we can note your attendance. Before the meeting begins, as Mr. Seaver said, our elected officials are joining us, including Trustee Chair Josh Girth, Trustee Vice Chair Dee Stone, Trustee Andrew Pappas, and Fiscal Officer Ken Dietz. We also have other personnel who will be joining us after exec session, and I will reiterate these comments at that time. Each of us will do our best, including Mr. Dietz, to remember to state our name before we speak, for those of you that are joining us via phone. I'll now turn the proceedings over to Trustee Chair Josh Girth.
Thank you, Ms. Earhart. And with that, I would like to call the meeting to order and move to retire to executive session to consider the appointment or employment of a public employee or official as permitted by the ORC Section 121.22G1, to consider the sale of properties permitted by the Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G2, to confer with the director concerning disputes that are the subject of pending or imminent court actions permitted by the Ohio Revised Code Section 1.1.22G3, and to review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment as permitted by the Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G4.
Second.
Ken Dietz speaking. Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will return to executive session. We'll be back at 5:30.
Mommy,
Yes,
I'm wearing my new one. You want to see it on me?
I'd love to.
I love it.
It's
Wait,
really
is that?
good. It's really comfy.
Okay, let me see if that's on the right way though. Here.
Is it?
I don't know. Let me see. Turn around the back.
Is it on the right way?
I don't think so. I think it's on backwards.
Is it on backwards?
Yeah.
I said, how is it on backwards?
Well, it's on backwards because I think the bus always the bigger part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you do this, look, if you measure it front, you can see.
Oh, I was wrong, Mommy.
Yeah, good. Okay.
I saw it.
All right, and then is Clary wearing her new suit, or which one is she wearing?
Is her new suit here?
Not the new one from Macy's.
What can I see? I forget her
That
suit.
was great. Nana's gonna love this one. Go look in the mirror. It looks beautiful. I'm so glad we got that one.
Yeah.
Good evening. It's 5:29. This is Steve Severs with Anderson Township. The board is preparing to come out of executive session, so I just wanted to check for those that are joining us by phone. If you hear my voice, you are connected, so please stand by and we'll resume the meeting momentarily.
Hello. Who's that? Hello.
Ooh, what are you watching?
Anderson Township.
Really fast.
Come on, guys. Oh, Lord. Hello.
Who's got their dog? Steve, it's Josh. Do you have everybody back on, trustees and Ken?
No, not just a moment.
All right.
We're almost there.
Margaret's back on.
Hi, this is Vicki, your Hart Township Administrator. I would ask that everyone mute their phones. We're getting a little bit of feedback right now. And unmute if you're wanting to speak. This is the July 16th meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Trustees. The meeting's being conducted telephonically due to the COVID pandemic and the state of emergency that has been declared throughout the state of Ohio. The agenda for today's meeting is on andersontownship.org website. You click on trustee agendas, and then July 16th, you'll be able to open up the agenda. We do have 2 opportunities for public comment tonight. The first will be during a public hearing for the 2021 preliminary summary tax budget.
I'm watching that.
If everyone could mute their phones, we're getting some feedback. The second opportunity would be during public forum. Again, we ask that everyone mute their phones or mute their computers and only unmute if you're speaking or you wish to speak. We also ask that you speak directly into your handset if possible, as opposed to using the speaker feature, which helps also reduce some of that background noise. Our Board of Trustees are on this call. They have just completed executive session. We have Trustee Chair Josh Girth, Trustee Vice Chair Dee Stone, Trustee Andrew Pappas, and our Fiscal Officer Ken Dietz. So at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Trustee Chair Josh Girth.
Thanks, Vicki. And with that, I would move to return to open session.
Second.
Ken Dietz.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
If everyone could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'd move to adopt tonight's agenda.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we have Ken Dietz? Is he with us, or?
He's muted.
Let's give him that, make sure he's on.
He's here. He's just muted.
Since we're getting ready to talk about the budget.
Okay, there you go.
So I'm on mute now?
Deb, you're off.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm back on. Thank you.
You're up.
Yes, I would start out by saying, first of all, I want to tell all the trustees we do have purchase orders that need to be signed. They're going to be in the workroom during the rest of the week and next week. So if you get a chance to stop in and could sign those, I'd appreciate that. As far as the tax budget is concerned, first of all, I'd like to thank department heads, the administration, my fiscal office for just pulling this together in very, very tough times. A lot is not known about what our expenditures are going to be. Even more so, our revenues are unpredictable, but we have tried to put everything together, make the best decisions, put the best information we could into consideration to pull off this tax budget. As you all know, this is a tax budget that will be in effect next year, 2021. We will have to approve that in March. I can assure you there will be probably a lot of changes. We just don't want there to be exorbitant changes. So I thank everybody for helping me. You have I think before you have a summary, preliminary budget. I would make some comments about it. Mr. Pappas asked me how it compared to this year's budget, the 2020 budget. And actually, the 2020 budget is $47 million. That will greatly be reduced by the expenditures and things. And the tax budget for 2021 is a little bit less, 46 million. I hope I said 47 million for 2020. $46,500,000 approximately for the new budget. Now there are many pluses and minuses because we have the Stonecrest TIF that's going into effect, and we are switching money around. One of the biggest things we have going is we have a chance to supplement our public works by switching several items over to the TIF budget. Retirement, which is $140,000, salaries $515,000, and materials $323,000. That's almost $1 million we can switch over, hopefully because of House Bill 481. So we're trying to reduce the burden on our public works budget. We also put in, and I'm just mentioning things that are significant, $800,000 transfer from the general fund, which is right now has a good balance if needed. If the items in 14 cannot take effect, then we would have that as a backup. So almost every other fund, we're looking fairly good in our service areas, our fire and rescue, our sheriff's contract. The numbers, like I said, are fairly consistent with this year with a couple pluses and minuses. So if you have any questions, I would need your approval to pass a tax budget for $46,466,330.
Thanks, Ken. This is a public hearing to discuss the 2021 preliminary tax budget. Just so everyone understands, this is preliminary in nature, so we will actually likely make adjustments to this throughout the year, which then we will adopt the permanent budget in March. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vicki or Ken. But at this time, if anyone would like to weigh in, has any questions, they may do so at this time.
Well, Josh, I think it's a good point that we will be changing this budget as we go along throughout the year. And when we get to next year in March, it will look a little different, hopefully not a lot. So yes, we have that ability.
Thanks, Ken. So again,
this is
public
Steve
hearing,
Rivers.
so
I'm going to go forward and open up people's mics. This sometimes causes some issues, so I ask if you wish to be muted, just make sure you mute your own system, but I want to make sure everybody has the chance to speak.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Ken.
So the floor is Mr. Girth.
Very good. We'll give it a minute or so.
Want you out. So that's about to happen today.
Unmute everyone who has a chance to speak. I've not unmuted.
Unmuted everyone, Steve. There's no doubt about that.
Since this is a public hearing, if we need to, we can close the hearing and then and the adoption.
Okay, not hearing anyone chiming in, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing for the 2021 preliminary tax budget, and I would recommend the adoption of the 2021 preliminary tax budget.
I move to approve the 2021 preliminary summary tax budget as presented by the fiscal officer.
Second. Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Debbie, and everyone that's been working on this.
Yeah, it's been great.
At this time, presentations, recognitions. Vicki, Steve, I don't know if we have anything in this section tonight or not. I don't believe.
We do not.
Okay. So having none of those, then we'll move into the public forum. section of the meeting. So anyone that would like to address the board may do so at this time. Ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, and we'll go ahead and open it up. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Girth. I will proceed with reopening folks' mics. And again, if you would like to mute yourself, I would be greatly appreciated if you're not speaking, but I want to make sure everyone has the chance to speak this evening that wishes to.
Thanks, Steve.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I'm still here.
Okay, I'll ask again. If no one has any public comments, then we'll move on to the next session.
Hello?
Yes, if there's something, if someone's trying to chime in, go ahead.
Yeah, I said hello.
Okay, I'll ask if anyone has any comments. That doesn't sound like it. Steve, everyone's been unmuted, right?
I've sure tried. This is Steve Sievers. Again, if anyone wishes to speak, if you can please identify yourself at this time. Otherwise, we will close off the mics and proceed with the rest of the agenda. And if somebody is muted and wishes to speak, you could always email us and we can try to figure out how to make that happen perhaps later. But I'm not seeing anyone, Mr. Girth, that is asking to speak.
Very good. Thanks, Steve. We'll move on to the next section, which are trustee comments. And I'll start. Again, this is Josh Girth. A couple of things. One, we hosted what we called kind of a community conversation that was coined All Together Now, held at Big Ash Brewing a few weeks back. And the idea was to get people together offline, ironically, since we're having these meetings online, but to have conversations about what we can do to improve our community. I want to thank everybody who attended this event and also those who actually helped sponsor the event, including my fellow trustees, Andrew Pappas and Dee Stone. Thank you both for contributing financially. Julie Bissinger, who from the Park District, who also contributed financially, and we had a couple other corporate sponsors. But we had a great event, and I think it starts the idea that we want to continue to do these type of meetings and these type of events. So again, I just want to thank everyone who came out. We had representation from all kinds of different groups, and it was a great event. So again, thanks. And one of the people that was part of the group that we were discussing was Mercy Anderson, and one of the greatest volunteers we have in our community is Dr. Steve Fagans. And I believe Dr. Fagans and Ken James, who is the market president and CEO of Mercy Anderson and East Markets for Mercy, is with us now. Mercy, which everyone obviously is familiar with, was just named the Watson Hospital. And most hospitals, of which there's 3,500 or so across the country, strive to get this recognition as part of their long-term plans. And our local hospital, Mercy Anderson, has achieved this 13 times. So they would like to talk quickly about that, as well as some other things they got going on. So Dr. Fagans or Ken James, if you're on the call, we'd love to hear from you.
Great. This is Ken James again. Go ahead, Dr. Fagans.
And Josh, just see Fagans and our president is also on. And can you hear me? Okay, good. Yeah, and I also just want to echo that the listening event that you, Josh, coordinated was also a good example of how we can be together, but also socially distance and appropriately mask and do the things we need to do in this time. And so, in addition to being an excellent event, it was an example of how we can do these things, in this unusual time. So I do want to really compliment you, Josh, and the coordinators on that. And then also would like to introduce our president and CEO of Mercy Anderson Hospital, Ken James. So go ahead, Ken.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to share. I just want to provide a little context and background with respect to that designation and that honor. As you mentioned, there's over 3,000 hospitals that are eligible for that. And to receive that 13 times is remarkable. And I'd add that there's not another hospital in the Cincinnati region that has that designation this year. So wanted to add that and provide a little bit of background and context on the evaluation process. So they use a very balanced scorecard looking at clinical, operational, and financial metrics. So there are a lot of different agencies outside in America that evaluate hospitals. You have Health Grades, you got CMS star ratings, you have Leapfrog. The one thing that differentiates the IBM Watson from all the others is that, one, there's no application process, and secondly, you as an entity do not submit any data. They only use publicly reported data for this methodology in terms of determining those top 100 hospitals. A further distinction that I'd like to point out is in that designation of top 100, there's 5 categories. So you have large teaching, large community, medium, and small. And Anderson falls into a large community hospital category. And in each category, there's only 20 hospitals. So that further defines the excellent care that we're providing in this local community. So again, Dr. Figgins and I are a little biased, but we like to point out just how proud we are and how proud you should be of your local community hospital. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you both for jumping on here this evening, and congratulations.
And so, Josh, don't call it the little hospital anymore. Call it the big hospital.
We will do that. Thank you. All right. With that, Andrew D., any comments from you guys?
Yeah, I just want to, first of all, congratulations to Mercy. They are such an asset to our community and one of our biggest township employers, and we're just glad to have them in the community and be so involved in our community. They're constantly giving to different organizations, and we really appreciate their support. And just secondly, just want to encourage, I know the school district is talking about, are they going back to school? And right now, supposedly they are, but if people start doing what the governor asked us to do yesterday, which is wear a mask and social distance, then it's more likely that our schools can open and our parents that have school-age children can stay at work. So it's really important that we all just follow the guidelines that the governor has laid out. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Dee.
I'll agree with what Dee said. Congrats to Mercy. It's very well-deserved recognition, and you're a great asset to the community, and you are very involved, and we truly appreciate you being here. And about the masks and everything else, if keeping everything open and keeping the economy running and keeping people at work, all it takes is to wear a mask for a few weeks. I have mine on right now, so I'm happy to do it, and I hope everybody, I realize Americans are a very freedom-loving people, and we are a rebellious lot, but if keeping the mask on or wearing a mask in public places and maintaining social distancing keeps our economy open and keeps us from being shut down again, which was very painful for a lot of businesses in this community. A lot of people are hurting right now because of the shutdown still, and I have the greatest empathy for them and everything they're going through right now. Then yes, you'll see me wearing a mask. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you both. Moving on to Fiscal Officer. Ken, back to you.
Thank you, Josh. First of all, we have financial reports through the first half of the year, and I would say, as usual, they're looking fairly good right now. We have to be aware of the times, uncertain times, where we're not sure what our revenues are going to be the last half of the year. We are concentrating on expenditures, trying to keep them down, but I would caution everybody that we have to tighten our belts and make sure during the next half of this year in 2021 that we watch everything. revenues and expenditures will be more difficult with what the times are right now. So things look good as of the first half of the year, but let's just keep track of everything. And the fiscal office is really concerned about how we're going to handle the second half of this year in 2021. We have no appropriation changes. And I guess the other thing we have is we have some minutes to be approved.
I move to approve the minutes of May 7th, 2020, May 14th, 2020, and May 21st, 2020.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Stennett? Mrs. Stone? Yes. Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And by the way, on the tail of your comments about the budget in the future, I just want to mention real quick that because I think you brought it up earlier about the House Bill 481 passing and the governor signing it. I think it was yesterday. This is huge, huge, positive, wonderful news for the residents of our township. And we're not going to get into it tonight, but we will certainly be putting out the information about how this bill is going to allow us to access restricted funds where we are going to have the ability to hopefully stave off a levy and save our taxpayers millions of dollars. So we're very excited about this, and we will certainly be putting out some press about this in the coming week.
Yeah, the levy that we're talking about is like the public works, because our fire and rescue and our sheriff's departments are receiving funds from elsewhere, and we are not planning to use some of that TIF dollars to offset those expenditures. So, but it's going to be a big help for our public works in, like you said, putting off that levy for another year or two is in sight. So,
absolutely. Thanks, Ken.
Josh, if I could add something for a second, I'd like to just point out to everybody listening. First of all, that bill that you're speaking of, you deserve a lot of credit for your help and input on that. I just want to give you the recognition you deserve. I know we drafted a letter thanking Representative Seitz, Senator Seitz, for that, and staff worked on that as well, along with the some other townships here in the area. So there was a lot of people that went into that, but I do want to let people know that Trustee Gerth did participate in that quite a bit, and he deserves full credit for the effort he put forward there.
Well, thank you. Not full credit, but certainly a big team effort. So it's a big win for our townships, no doubt about it.
This is Ken Dietz. I would have to say that Vicki and the administration were a big part of it also.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks, everybody. Let's move on. Margaret, I think you're on the call. Do you have anything to report?
I'm going to chime in for Margaret. I believe she's muted right now, but she has no report this evening.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, Paul Drury.
Hi, this is Paul. Good evening. The item on our agenda under our department is Ohio River Trail connectivity. Believe it or not, we're celebrating 10 years of the township segment of the Ohio River Trail. It was constructed in 2010, and this segment that we're referring to extends from Sutton to 5 Mile Road, and it's on the north side of Kellogg. As you've probably seen, the city of Cincinnati is completing a segment of the trail through the California neighborhood that will tie into our segment. And then earlier this year, ODOT restriped 52 to add bike lanes where practical out to the county line to Claremont County. We conducted a feasibility study in 2016 and prioritized additional segments in that section. It is a very expensive segment, so in the interim, that's why the striping occurred to take advantage of the repaving and resurfacing of 52. We are requesting now to contract with IBI Consulting and Engineering. They are the ones that have done the preliminary engineering and studies for the Ohio River Trail for the township to do a feasibility study and preliminary plans to tie in where 5 Mile, where the trail currently ends, to the stripe lanes on 52. We're only requesting to enter into a contract for the feasibility, not for the construction. But if we have preliminary plans intact, it would put the township in a good position should funding become available for this segment. And this would tie, again, where the trail currently ends to the stripe lanes on 52. So we are requesting, there's a motion for your consideration to enter into a contract with IBI for these services.
I move to authorize the township administrator to enter into an agreement with IBI Group to provide surveying and engineering services for potential alignment of a bicycle connection from the existing Ohio River Trail East, terminating at 5 Mile Road, to eastbound, westbound bike lanes on Kellogg Avenue, and prepare a construction cost estimate, including drainage, walls, right-of-way acquisition, and utility relocations as appropriate for a cost not to exceed $23,000.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Paul. And I'd like to give a kind of a shout out to the late Todd Portune, who we worked with extensively on this Ohio River Trail connectivity, and was a great example of local government collaborating with each other. So thanks, Paul, for the update. Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Kevin Bly is with us tonight. I believe you have something.
It's Brian Hayes. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm here too with Brian. He's going to explain the camera registration program that's on the agenda.
Great.
Okay, early on in my position, which began April 1st, I was getting inundated with emails from residents who had camera systems in their houses, and they were sending me video clips of criminal activity. Almost all of it was video clips of two separate subjects. One we actually arrested that were going in unlocked cars and stealing items. Some of the videos were really good and clear. Some of them weren't that good. So I began thinking out loud, because I had probably received upwards of 20 videos from separate homes. Why not register who we have locally, both businesses and homes, who have security cameras? Then, ironically, I think later that next week, I spoke with Dave Boyman, whose position I now have, and he said that the township and him had talked about a security camera registration program, but it never really got off the ground. So I did a bit more research, and I found that both Westchester, Ohio, and City of Cincinnati have camera registration programs. No other local police agency does. That being said, I put together a program basically with a brochure. I used my neighborhood watch contacts, my business watch contacts to market that brochure. And inside the brochure, which you can access through the township link, it explains the program. It answers several questions that residents may ask. Basically, how it works is if you're a business or a homeowner in the township and you have a camera system and you would like to register it, you navigate to the sheriff's page on the township website. I think you answer 4 simple questions, hit the send button, and you get an email acknowledgement that we're looking at it. And I'm pleased to announce probably we have about 120 people so far that have registered their systems. I would have liked to have had a lot more by now, but with the absence of us not having any community programs or festivals, I've not really been able to reach much more than I can from my office. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be certainly happy.
This is great. I mean, I think it's another way that we can combat kind of the petty crimes that go on. Brian, what do you think? I mean, obviously we can help promote it as much as possible. So if whatever you think is the best way to get this information out, I know you'll work with Vicki and Steve, and maybe this is the next Anderson Insights, but I think this is a great tool. So I appreciate your work on this.
Well, thank you for that. And I know Steve has put it on the township social media sites. I know that I would have worked the Anderson Days Festival all 3 days if we were going to have it. And
Right.
I'm having a stack of hundreds of brochures to pass out, but I think by this time next year, we'll have a heck of a lot more people registered.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
And Sergeant Bly, I understand you're moving.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. I'm going to be a supervisor of the traffic section for Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. I spent 7 years in Anderson Township. It's been probably the best stop in my 21 career. Just want to thank every one of you guys with Anderson Township Administration, all the trustees. It's been a great ride. I'm going to venture on. I'm not leaving the county. I'll be right over on Hamilton. But yeah,
Well, we're sorry to see you go, but understand and congratulations on the move. And we really appreciate all the service that you provided to this township over the last 8 years.
I appreciate it.
Sergeant Bly, this is Ken Dietz. I just wanted to say you've been one tremendous asset to our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that.
Sergeant Bly, I will echo that. Andrew Pappas here. I will miss our banter, but more importantly, so you're going to be with the traffic division. Does that apply to parking tickets or speeding tickets? I want to make sure I got my information straight.
It's everything.
Well, it will be even better having you for maybe some speeders that I might know. So good luck to you, buddy. I really am going to miss you. You've been to the township, and you did a job well done.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. We appreciate all you've done for our township.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, with that, moving into Public Works, Eric Lingenbuehl.
Good evening, everybody. It's Eric. The first thing we have tonight is a memo. It's the 2020 Hamilton County 20% Distribution Funds Program. Public Works has an application for the 2020 20% Distribution Funds Program that needs to be turned back into Hamilton County Engineer's Office by August 14th of 2020, and we will definitely get that taken care of. But this year's our share of the 20% fund is $58,270 even. And we would like to utilize that funding for this year's 2020 curb project currently underway in the Asbury Hill subdivision, with the remainder of those funds applied to the 2021 paving program for next year. The second thing we have, I just want to give everybody a heads up on the Copper Glow culvert pipe project. We had a bid opening July 7th at 10 o'clock in the morning. We received one bid. And that the bid packet was filled out incorrectly, so we could not accept that bid. We did receive a second bid later that morning via a delivery service, but it was after the 10 a.m. deadline. That big packet was not opened. It was returned to the contractor exactly the way we've got it. So what we would like to do is we would like to resubmit for bid Monday, July 20th of 2020, with hopefully a bid opening Tuesday, August 11th of 2020 at 10 a.m. in the morning. And I'm sure both of these contractors will submit their bids again. But if that all works out well for us, I would like to bring that to the August 20th trustees meeting with a recommendation on which way to go with this and what bid to accept. That should still allow us plenty of time with that time frame to get the project finished up and completed before inclement weather sets in this fall. So I think we still look pretty good. If everything works out for us okay with this bid packet on this time around, I think we'll be fine. But that's all I have tonight.
Thanks, Eric.
We have a motion on the bill.
We need a motion, right?
I move. Give me a second.
I have.
I move to authorize the application of the Hamilton County 20% Distribution Funds application in the amount of $58,270 to be used towards the 2020 curb project currently underway for the Asbury Hill subdivision, with the remaining funds applied to the 2021 paving program.
Second.
Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Fire and Rescue, Chief Martin, anything to report?
Good evening. The fire department does not have anything this evening.
Thank you. Then I think township news issues. Vicki Earhart, you are up.
Yes, the first two items Ms. Parker will cover.
Yes, thank you. The first one is renewing our membership in the OTA, the group rating program. That requires us to continue to work with CareWorks as our managed care organization. They do a great job of managing our claims. They save us legal expenses because they do provide a lot of guidance that I would otherwise need to consult with a workers' comp attorney. So the membership fee that we pay is still, in my opinion, a good value, and it is still proportionate to our overall workers' comp premium. That rate has not increased over the years, and we've been with them for a number of years. So unless the board has any questions, I would ask that we renew again with CareWorks for the coming plan year. And I believe there's a motion in your packet.
I move to authorize payment of $26,494 to CareWorks Comp for Anderson Township's participation in the 2021 Ohio Township Association's Group Rating Program.
Thank you. The second item, this involves
Wait, I don't think we formally approved that yet.
We need.
Seconded that motion.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Renewing with the Center for Local Government Benefits Pool, even though the increase this year, the premium increase is 9.9%, which is higher than we have seen in a long time, because this is a nonprofit group, I still strongly believe that is a great value for us, and that we would be paying at least this, if not more, if we went out to the open market as a standalone plan, not just the township, but by buying in this larger group, we do save money. So I do think it is a good thing for us to continue participation in this group, and so I'm asking that we again renew our membership and remain a part of that benefits pool. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Seeing no questions, I move to authorize the Assistant Township Administrator for Human Resources to renew Township's employee medical insurance plan through the Center for Local Government's Benefits Pool as presented.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Thank you.
The only other thing we have for the board this evening is an update on the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to reiterate comments made by the trustees about the importance of wearing masks, the importance of hand washing and social distancing. It is something that we are all taking very seriously in order to continue the progress that has been made over the last couple of days, where Hamilton County, the star has been removed. We're making progress in the right direction, and as Governor DeWine and Dr. Fagans and others have stated over and over again, wearing masks is very important at this time. We have received a number of questions from residents about outdoor concerts, specifically Party on the Plaza and some other outdoor events that the township has canceled for the time being. Those are not permissible according to the governor's orders. So Party on the Plaza for the month of July has been canceled. We are waiting to review what happens in August, but I suspect it will be canceled as well. The Anderson Senior Center remains closed. for the same reasons, because of the vulnerable population and the threat of spread of the disease. We are continuing to have staff contact senior center members, either via Zoom calls to do check-ins or contacting them directly to make sure that we're meeting their needs. And Cincinnati Area Senior Services is continuing to deliver meals to those that need it. We hope to get our senior center members back on the campus as quickly as possible, but only when it's safe to do so. The other thing I wanted to bring up to the board, we've talked a lot about our finances this evening. One of the things that staff, specifically the fiscal office and administration and fire and rescue, are heavily involved in right now is navigating the various funding that's available through the federal government, through U.S. Treasury, the CARES Act, and also funding through the county and FEMA. We are doing our best to document our expenses and to seek reimbursement for those where it is possible. It is quite convoluted at this point. We do have a number of different avenues to go, and just want the board to know that staff's doing everything possible to recoup as much of that money as we can. We'll continue to do that and report back to the board at a later date. So unless you have any questions, that's all the update we have today.
Thank you, Ms. Earhart. Anybody have any other questions, comments? If not, then our next regular scheduled formal board meeting will be August 20th. And I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes, thanks everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.